This is WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
Good morning, Savannah. This is Wayne Waters. You're listening to Savannah Lexicon on WRUULP 107.5 FM. We're streaming online, as always, live from the heart of Savannah's downtown historic district. Savannah Lexicon is a show designed to inform the listener about important social, political, and cultural issues that shape Savannah, as well as about opportunities to experience things in and around this beautiful city that might bring an added measure of grace and joy to your life. Speak occasionally with representatives of local government, social service organizations, cultural organizations, educational organizations, and all sorts of people. And sometimes we do shows more or less just for fun, and today's show is one of those. I'm here as always with my trusty producer, Keith Baudry, and we're on air every Wednesday from 9 to 10 in the morning. We surely do appreciate you for listening. And today we have got Lance Stinson, who is, you may well know, a rockin' country guy. And he is going to be one of the headliners for the upcoming St. Patty's Day festival. You're going to be down on River Street, is that right?
River Street, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so,
on the 17th, yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right. So, Lance is from Lumber City, Georgia. Not too far up the road. Tell us where that is exactly, Lance.
Lumber City is the easiest way to do it. I guess you'd say it's kind of northwest of Vidalia, about 28 miles or so.
All
Beautiful
right.
little country.
All right. Good deal. And so you're going to be rocking us out and playing some music.
We're going to have a great time.
On St. Patty's Day.
You want to be where it's going to be, but you got to be here.
All right. Well, man, I think half the known planet's going to be in Savannah at least.
I know it. That's
St. Patty's
I heard
Day,
it's a
man.
crazy week.
Woo!
Crazy week.
Man, I don't even know how to talk about it. It is definitely crazy, to say the least. But you
But it's
have
gonna be a
been
good
to
time.
St. Patty's.
I
don't think you've performed.
I haven't performed, but I come down last year for a little while.
And you saw.
Yeah, it was a lot of folks.
You saw craziness.
A lot of folks.
Okay. There's all sorts of people doing all sorts of things, and there's no telling what you might see. From my experience, I've seen some things that I've been trying to get out of my mind for years.
We've all been there.
But I can't do it. They just flash back at me occasionally, and I shriek in horror. But having said that, it's a lot of fun and a great big old party.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so Lumber City, you grew up there,
Sure
and as you say, not far from Vidalia, not far from Dublin, over a little northwest of us.
Mm-hmm.
So what about Savannah? You used to, when you were growing up, did y'all come to Savannah at all?
Maybe once in a while, but we didn't ever. No, if we ever had time for vacation, we always went fishing or whatever, and we'd always go down to Flagler Beach or something like that. If we had coming to the beach or something, we never came to Savannah. Okay. And really on my own until I was probably 20 or so, to the first time I ever actually come to the beach to Tybee over here.
Okay, but clearly you were aware of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Savannah was always. Everybody knows where Savannah was.
That's true, absolutely. If you're that close and not know where Savannah is or what it is, then
And it's one of the prettiest cities around.
It is, isn't it?
It's got a lot of historical stuff, man. Those big oaks. It's hard. You don't see many big oaks raised like that.
It's
not
gorgeous.
in town anyway.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. I think it's in the running, honestly, for the prettiest city in the nation. Not that I've visited every single pretty city by any means, but it's hard to imagine much better.
Well, you get in most big cities, where Atlanta or New York or whatever, there's just a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
Here you got a lot of historical stuff, man, which is really cool, and that's what I like about Savannah.
Yeah. And you walk around down here, it is really something. All right, first off, let's backtrack just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you were here already for
Oktoberfest last year.
Oktoberfest right there on River Street.
Right on River Street.
Are you going to be at the same spot, do you know?
There's supposedly going to be 3 different stages down there, and I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but I know we're on the Budweiser stage, I think is what they're calling it.
Okay.
But that's all
how
I know.
How did that go? I know that concert went well. Actually.
Oktoberfest was a blast.
Oktoberfest.
I was really impressed with the people that showed up. I mean, we had people drive all the way from Eastman to come down, which was great for me. It's an honor. I don't mean to do that. People could do anything they want to do, but they take the time to come out and see us, and we try to do our best to entertain them.
Well, from what I've seen, y'all do a good job of that.
We love what we do.
Y'all don't hold back. Y'all
we love what we do. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. You're having a good time.
Me and the boys always say, if we're not going to have a good time, we just won't go.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, you had a good time at Oktoberfest. I know you're going to have a good time with St. Patty's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And so at that concert on Oktoberfest, y'all played a good variety of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. And, from all the classic country stuff to some of the little more modern stuff, and then all my original music stuff. And John, my bass player, man, he can sing any rock stuff like AC/DC and sing it like a bird. How he pulls it off, I don't know, because you just look at him, you were thinking, I don't know how you do it. So when you get to throw that in there on top of what I do, I think people really are impressed. So.
Yeah. And
I got a good group of boys too to play with.
Yeah,
a bunch of good guys.
So you now actually are based in Nashville, right?
We're based out of Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah. Do all recording and writing and stuff and all up there, networking. Yeah.
Okay.
All the business is handled mainly up there. Yeah.
And how long you been in Nashville?
Man, off and on back. I've been going to Nashville for, my Lord, probably 15 years.
Okay.
And but Georgia will always be my home. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll always be home.
Yeah. And these guys who play with you, they are kind of Nashville vets.
They're all Nashville.
Too.
Yeah, Nashville.
One of them's actually from Georgia, right?
Yeah, well, 2 of them actually originally from Georgia, yeah, but they both live up there now. One's from Glenville, plays the drums, and Chad is a guitar player from above Atlanta originally.
Okay.
But, it's just like anything else. If you want to be in the music business, especially country, you got to be where, Nashville's the place to be.
Oh, yeah. Nashville is definitely the place.
And for the business side of it, I mean, you don't think you necessarily really have to, have a residence there and live there, but it's kind of hard to do, one without the other. If you want to be in the radio business, you got to go to a radio station. Same thing. If you want to be in the music business, you got to be where it's at.
True enough. True enough.
And it's a beautiful town too, but I still love Georgia.
Yeah. Nashville's grown a lot, I'll tell you, man. It's just like in the last, 5 or even 10 years, or particularly 5. I mean, it is just blown up, man.
It has. It's always a busy town.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's winter, summer, spring. It's always busy.
And here's a little trivia tidbit. Music is actually not the number one industry in Nashville. I mean, everybody kind of thinks it is, and everybody identifies it with that. And obviously, that is a big part of the identity and culture of the city. But actually, healthcare is the biggest industry. They have for whatever reason, they have a number of health facilities and also healthcare manufacturing concerns up there. But still,
that's something I didn't know. But I knew they had a lot of stuff about it. I didn't know it was big like that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's big.
Good to know.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But, if anybody's talking about Nashville, they're talking about country music.
City,
so.
that's what they all,
Music City, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, I think that tidbit of trivia might be worth what most trivia is worth. But
no, that's interesting.
But at any rate, there it is.
That's something I didn't know.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your. Well, I'll tell you. Let's back up. I'll because if anybody's read this latest issue of South, I have a kind of a Q&A and a little profile of Lance on it. So if you want to find out more about him that you don't hear today on the radio, check that out. And he and I talked for that interview and for that piece. We talked a little bit about his love of music growing up and some of the influences. So Tell us a little bit about that. You say you really kind of got influences mainly from two different areas. I mean, both in the family.
Sure.
One, your dad, of course, which was old school country, and then your brothers who were older.
Brothers,
coming up in like the 80s
they're
or whatever.
14 years older than me, and it was 8-track player in Dad's truck with all the classic country. I mean, Waylon, Willie, Merle, all of them, and then my brothers, it was all the 80s hair bands. Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Rat, Poison.
There you go.
It's a little bit of mix of both, and everybody's like, well, you need to broaden your thing. I said, listen, when I come up, dude, that's all. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have any control over radio every time I was in the car.
It's either dad or the older brothers.
Until I started driving.
Well, hey, and you can hear both influences in your music.
I believe so. I mean, it's just, I kind of think that's what's in me, and I guess that's why I love to do what we do, I think it shows. And ain't nothing wrong with either one of those, because classic country, to me, is still some of the best it's ever been, And the 80s hair bands, that's all of them were great musicians. Every one of them, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I guess you kind of like take it like that. That's where the kicking your teeth country come from,
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You do some that sound very kind of old school country, and then you do some that are kind of rockin' country.
Well, I'm a sucker for a story song. That's to me, that's my favorites. But but you still got to do those fun ones too, and they're fun to do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what have you got planned a little bit for this coming St. Patty's Day? We'll go ahead and jump into that. We're going to swirl around and back and forward and over and around here this morning. I got a feeling, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, we're just we're going to come out and put on a show like we always do. We got a special guest, but I still can't tell you who it is.
Oh man,
I knew you was going to try to do that.
When I did the story, he told me he had a special guest. I tried to get it out of him then, and he would not give it up, and he's still not going to give it up.
I told you.
I know. All right, I understand. So you got a special guest. You don't want to. You want it to be the surprise.
I do.
Yeah,
I'll give you. I
understand.
I'll give you a hint.
Oh,
if you watch a lot of your news, like local news here in Savannah, you've seen this guy. I promise you.
Okay.
That's all I'll say, and it's a guy.
Well, that's not going to give me the answer, but hey, it's something. It's more than I got than last time.
I think you're going to be surprised.
All right, good. So obviously somebody that local folks are going to know.
They're going to know him, yeah.
So that's going to be a good surprise for them.
And he's a local guy too.
And guys who haven't heard you, I think that's going to be a good surprise too.
I think it is. Yeah, we always love playing for different people, for new people. It's always fun. But we've got a great support fan base. And I'm glad we do. And because without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. That follow us around and drive hundreds of miles to come see us play. And that's why I think we love to do what we do as much as we do.
Man, that's got to feel good.
It is a good feeling, man, and it's because it's about them too. It ain't just about us. They're part of the family.
I wonder. What do you think, Keith? Are people driving hundreds of miles to hear us?
You might be surprised.
Actually, it's streaming online, so you can be hundreds or thousands of miles away, and you can pick it up.
I drove to come see you.
So that's right. Lance, by God, he drove to come see us. That's right. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's got to be nice when you see those same familiar faces out there, and you know that they're not like right around the corner somewhere.
Us, and you can't put a price on that. It's priceless when people think that much of you and the music. And because it's relatable music, and that's kind of been my whole goal ever since I recorded my first track. 15 years ago when I was a kid. But I think that's what people love. They want to hear something they can relate to. I know I do anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really nice when you got a really coherent, nice story in there that not all music does. So that, that's a big thing, no doubt. And I remember you saying when we talked earlier that was really, really, really what you have in mind when you go in to write a song.
It is.
And so you're still writing some.
Still writing music.
Now you were telling me at that time that you. Excuse me, folks. You were telling me that you were kind of zeroing in on a new CD.
We are.
New album.
We got 3 more tracks that right now. I'm pretty sure we're about to get ready to finish them. So,
okay.
And or get in the studio and start working to finish them. But It's just it's a labor of love, man. I want to pick the right ones, because there's so many great songs out there, and from other writers and people that I've wrote with or the ones I've wrote, myself or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hard to turn down a really good song whether I wrote it or not. I have people ask me all the time, do you like I got music, I want to pitch it to you. I said, yeah, send it to me. I'd love to hear it. Whether I use the song or not, I still like to hear, somebody else that's being creative, They're artists. I mean, that's, to me, it's an art form, and I love to hear it, and I love to share mine. So, anybody out there, send me some.
Hey, you may get some. There are many a probably frustrated songwriter
there
out there that because it's one of those things that's tough.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Break.
But once you ever do it, it just seems like it falls into place. You ever get that one good cut, and as a songwriter, and man, I'm telling you, it kind of snowballs from there because everybody else will really know who you are, other artists or whatever, kind of pick up on you.
Pick up and start playing it themselves.
Sure
so, what was your kind of breakthrough song, would you say?
Well, Hold My Beer and Watch This was one of my first records.
Speaking of a story song.
And it was kind of like when I was with my label, it was kind of the song they wanted to do, and they kind of wanted to brand us to be that kind of fun party guys, whatever, just your good old boys back home or whatever buddies, and that's cool, and it's a great song and it's fun, and people love it. Even to this day, I have people all the time. we had a show last time I played in Vidalia this past year. People were like hollering out songs that I had myself played in probably 10 years.
Is that right?
And I'm like, oh Lord, what are we gonna do? And, because it's bad because you write so many songs. Like I told you before, when I first started writing, a guy was writing with. He'd been a songwriter for years. He's like, I'm telling you, you may have to write 100 to get that one.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have 99 dogs to one good one. So you write so much material, and sometimes it's hard. Some of them get to the wayside sometimes. Not that they're bad songs, and I hated that I couldn't remember to play it for. That was a bad feeling.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, you keep progressing, and you like those songs, but hey, you got new stuff.
But I told her next time I'm in Vidalia, which I'm playing this year at Onion Festival, and I told her I'll have that one for her.
All right.
Miss Faye, if you're listening, I'll have it for you.
All right. You heard it here. It's a promise. Yeah. Hold My Beer and Watch This. Yeah,
that's a really cool song.
That's one of those songs that,
well, everybody can
relate to it. A lot of people can relate to it, where you kind of say, I'm going to go do something that I don't need to be doing.
That's exactly right.
It's not going to be smart to do, but, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Everybody has.
I've been there.
Even if you don't drink beer.
That's true.
Like we've all been there. Because we've all said, watch this.
Watch this.
The Hold My Beer part's just part of the song. The title's Watch This, but everybody calls it Hold My Beer. I mean, it's just one of them things. I guess we have a lot of beer drinkers as a fan base, I guess, which is fine with us.
Yeah, I would think that's probably true.
We'll drink a cold one.
That's true. That's true. All right, so that one really, because that really did real well.
It did real well for us. It actually broke us out to get us. From that, we started touring with. Originally with Colt 4 was one that really kind of helped me get out there. With that song, with that music, with the label at the time. And if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have never even got near as far as what I did. But I went from him to Brantley Gilbert to Randy Hauser and right on down the thing, Jamie Johnson. There's just tons of artists that it opened up for us by Colt. Put me on the road with him to help get that song out, and that's what it did. So sometimes you got to have somebody that really believes in you, and believes in what you're doing.
Man, there's so much involved.
There's a lot involved. A lot of people don't realize. A buddy of mine called. He talked to me yesterday. He called, and I talked to him. He had moved to Nashville probably about 7 months ago from Georgia and wanted to be a songwriter. And I told him, I said, I'm not trying to dishearten you now, but it's going to take a while. It ain't going to happen overnight. And he called me yesterday. He says, man, I didn't realize there was so much involved in this. I said, well, ain't nothing worth doing that's easy. You know what I mean? If it was easy, everybody'd do it.
True enough. True enough. Would you tell me there was something about the time period that people say in Nashville? It's like
10-year town. It's a 10-year town is what they always say.
10-year town.
10-year town. Back in the day, they said a young artist or singer or songwriter come to town, if he could work and survive for 10 years, then they knew he was going to stay in the business. He wouldn't be one of those that want to cut one record and he's out. You know what I mean? And that's how they used to do it back in the old days. That was always a saying.
Yeah. Wow.
and it is a tough town.
That's paying your dues, man.
Yeah, that's
10
showing up paying
years.
them.
That's
showing up paying them.
That's a chunk of time.
Yeah. But you got to look at it, and people, if you were going to invest the kind of money that major labels or even independent labels invest in artists to break them, it takes a lot of money to break an artist.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just the branding and marketing and all that on top of not even the record. Making a record itself is a lot of money, and a lot of time.
Yeah,
and a lot of people's involved in that.
All right, and have you been playing? Have you been touring a little bit or playing here and there lately?
We played a few gigs. We got our stuff just finna start kicking off. We're actually doing the what is it called? The American Red Cross thing in Glenville. The big walk that they always do every year, whatever, to raise money. And we got the call, and Dow Kennedy from over at the WTOC's anchor, and he's the one that always does the big walk every year. And he said, "Man, I want to do a concert. Would you mind? Would you be interested?" And I said, "Man, sure, I would. Anything like that." And and then we're in South Carolina the next night, and then we got St. Patty's, and then we're getting ready to do our stuff up up north. We're going to go through and do Boston, New Hampshire, and New York, and Ohio, and Illinois. So
yeah, because if I remember correctly, they love you in Boston.
Man, we love it. I mean, the Massachusetts area has been just an eye opener for me, because even with the success with my first record back in the day, farthest up north we ever got was Virginia,
yeah.
And 2 years ago, my agent called and says, "Hey, I got an offer for you to come play in Boston for 4th of July weekend." And I'm like, "Boston? Who wants me to come all the way to Boston?" and I said, and we went, man, we did it, and I was really surprised because when we got there, it's the only country bar actually in Boston, in the main town of Boston, and it's right across the road. I mean, you could hit a rock from the wall of Fenway Park there. So and it's just a lot of history there too in that town.
Yeah.
And
sure, absolutely.
And I was like, man, I hope we can fill it halfway up, and we couldn't get in the door the first night we played.
Wow.
But they appreciate country music because they don't get a lot of it there.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's the only place in town.
They don't get a lot. Yeah.
But still, to have that kind of enthusiasm in Boston is not, that's not what you normally think.
And this will be our 3rd year going back, man. And this is actually one part of the year I actually look forward to because I love going up there. We've made some really good friends up there, and we're going to spend an extra few days and go back fishing again. I caught my first big striper up there the first year I went.
Now, wait a minute. When are you going?
It's in July.
In July. Okay, that's a good time. I was going to say, if you're going right now.
Oh, no, it's way too cold. Now, my buddy has invited me to come go ice fishing, and I'm like, man, I love to fish, but I don't want to sit on the ice and fish.
No, I don't. I just don't really get that whole idea. That doesn't make much sense to me, but hey.
They say it's a lot of fun, too.
Different,
They say it's a lot of fun, but.
Whatever floats your boat.
I mean, only time I really going to handle with cold weather if I'm sitting in a deer stand. That's about the only time I'm going to sit out in the cold weather.
And it ain't, if it's in the South or Nashville or Georgia, it ain't going to be that cold.
No, it ain't going to be that cold. Because they got plenty of cold weather up there.
Oh, man. I can't imagine dealing with that every year. Of course, summers in Savannah. Woo!
They're warm.
That's a different thing you got to endure. But at least you can go inside and get a little air conditioning, and you still got the beauty of this great city. Right. So what the heck? All right, and run through. Let me see. This is going to be your 3rd album, really, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Right?
Is that right? Okay, and the second one was. What was it?
We had Tail Lights and Dust was a bigger hit off that one.
That's another big hit.
And then Whiskey was another one that was still one of my favorite songs. And that was a song, man, that I had before I ever made my first record. A friend of mine had wrote and pitched to me. Craig Campbell's wife and Rick Tiger had wrote. Mindy Campbell and Rick Tiger had wrote that song. And I just, with the label that I was with, it was just one. And at the time, it wasn't a good fit for the record. But I was fighting them tooth and nail to put that song on that record. Well, I never got to. But I still played it live, and people just loved it. Eat It Up, because it's another one of those relatable songs.
Definitely that.
And and it's a story. I mean, it's just one of them things. And we got to put it on this new record, on the record, the previous record, and it did exactly what I thought it would. People just took to it, because they can relate to it. And I think that's what's been important for me when I was making a record, because I want the people that I'm playing it for to be able to understand and feel like they're part of the song when they listen to it.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Now, isn't that funny, though, the way that happens? And we hear stories like this sometimes, how record producers or the record label people, they say, nah, this song, we don't want to mess with the song. And then it gets out there.
All the time.
It happens all the time.
Because I've actually had a few from that were pitched to me back in the day that I didn't mess with, that other artists actually cut and put on the records. And then again, I remember putting up signs at the barbecue place, my mom and dad's restaurant, no shirt, no shoes, no service. And then, Kenny Chesney had no shirt, no shoes, no problem.
Right.
And I knew when I looked at that sign, I said, man, that sounds like a good title. And then here, next thing you know, Kenny's got a song out. One of them things, I just didn't hit it quick enough.
Excuse me. I know what you mean as a writer. How many ideas I've had and just kind of filed away, and then the next thing you know, I'm reading it by somebody else.
That's
somewhere.
right.
And I'm thinking, oh man,
good Lord gives us those ideas as a gift, and sometimes we just everybody gets a little caught up in life, and everybody's got busy, and sometimes you just got to slow down and breathe. I know it's hard to do, but you got to.
Yeah. I am going through I need to slow down and breathe phase right now myself. I definitely need to slow down and breathe. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's kind of take a short breather.
Okay.
And for those who might just be tuning in, we've got Lance Stinson, a let's say country rock or rock and country, however you want to put it, artist. Who's going to be playing here on St. Patty's Day, already played here for Oktoberfest. And we're going to have him the whole hour, so do come back. We're going to take a short break and be back in just a minute.
I'm making it go.
Wayne Waters, and I host Savannah Lexicon on WRUULP 107.5 FM every Wednesday from 9 to 10. Savannah Lexicon is a conversation with representatives of this city's social, political, and cultural organizations. Give it a listen every Wednesday morning, 9 to 10, here on WRUULP 107.5 FM. We are back. How's everybody in Savannah? I do want you to understand that this portion of WRUULP Savannah Soundings programming is made possible by a grant from Roly Poly Sandwiches. Located at 114 Barnard Street, Roly Poly offers wraps, soups, salads. More information at 912-233-8222 or rolypoly.com. Okay, I also want to just take a moment and say that if you enjoy our programming at WRUULP, please support the station with a donation. As an individual, you can give any amount, become a basic station member, or become a serious fan of the station. To check out membership rates and to donate to the station, go to www.wruu.org/individual and select to donate monthly or subscribe to an annual membership. Again, to donate to the station, go to www.wruu.org/individual and select to donate monthly or subscribe to an annual membership. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUULP, and thank you particularly for listening to Savannah Lexicon here on this fine Wednesday morning. If you're just tuning in, we have Lance Stinson with us.
Howdy, y'all.
Country recording artist, and who's going to be a headliner at St. Patty's Day down on River Street. He was here for Oktoberfest, and I think he kicked it up so good that they said, you know, we might just bring him on back for St. Patty's Day. And so he's going to be here for that. And plays around and about. Got your third CD coming out before too long.
Very soon, hopefully.
Do we already? Are you settled on the name?
Not settled exactly.
The name.
Well, you know, Relentless is probably where it's going to stick. I mean,
okay.
It's one of those albums. I think it's going to be a good title for it, because that's going to be to me, it's one of my favorite tracks on the whole record anyway. So.
And you've already got that sort of out there, don't you?
Well, we haven't actually released that song yet.
You haven't?
I hadn't. Turn Off, Turn Up is the only single that we've released so far off of that record. But
okay,
you know, Relentless is a song that I wrote with a couple buddies of mine, and it's one of those songs, man. It's a story song and stuff I love. So, I mean, it tells a great story. You know?
Well, I guess I just read something about it and didn't really
hear
it.
Probably
I
so.
guess. But I mean, I know I've seen reference to it and listened to it.
Well, I think there's some people that has threw up maybe a live video or whatever up on YouTube or whatever. That's probably where you've seen something.
Yeah,
probably.
that might be it. Then. That might be it. Okay, and the last album, what was the name of it?
The last album was Tail Lights and Dust.
So it went by that title. So okay,
yeah.
Which Tail Lights and Dust is another.
It's one of those good old boy.
Another good old boy
song.
It's Friday. I got my paycheck, and here I go.
That's right.
And again, that's a fun song, though. It is a good song. It's a good song.
And that song
it really is.
That song was done real well for us too. I mean, and compared to the other stuff we've done, it's probably just on top of just Watch This was and back in the day. But and people love that song too, man. I mean, like, it's just a fun song. I mean, it's relatable. People's done it. I mean, people's got a pickup truck, or if you ain't even a pickup truck, it can be a car. I can ride dirt roads. Everybody has rode dirt roads before. I have to say everybody I know has. So, man,
almost everybody in the South, at least. I don't know about.
Well, you'd be surprised. I was surprised too now.
That's right. I shouldn't say
back
that.
in the day,
that's a terrible stereotype.
I found out that even in California there's rednecks.
Oh, absolutely. There's rednecks everywhere. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I really like that Tail Lights and Dust. So that's I mean, it's in that it's in that vein of the same kind of song, but it's a really good song though.
Well, thank you. It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
it's fun to perform it too. It's a good, fun song to perform with.
Now, give us what's another song or two that has done well for you?
Well, Whiskey is one that done real well
Whiskey,
for us.
and that one again is that one ain't fun.
No,
it's not fun.
That was not fun. It's a little bit of a tearjerker, I guess you'd say.
It's a tearjerker,
but it ain't too bad though.
No, but I mean,
it's just telling the truth.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to have that.
I mean, everybody's had somebody lose them in their life. I mean, left them or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's been. I mean, majority of people's lost somebody. You know, whether you did something wrong or whatever, you packed the kids up and left. That's basically what the song's about.
Yeah,
and the whiskey ain't the only thing running out.
Yep,
you know,
that's right.
That's what the song's about, and that's what I mean. At the time when I first heard that record, that's when I got my divorce. When I was married, when I was young, and I think that's what made it relatable to me when I first heard it. You know, through Craig Campbell, he was like, "Man, here, check out my old lady song." You know how it is. A lot of people thinking, "Well, you pushing your old lady song on me," but I loved it, and And actually, a few other artists that I know kind of passed on the song, and I'm like, man, y'all are crazy. I'll take it, you know. And then I finally got the chance to cut it for my second record because I wanted to do it on my first, but then wasn't able to do it. And I'm telling you, that probably is next to "Relentless" is probably one of my most favorite songs I've ever actually recorded. Because I can relate to it.
Yeah, nice song, real nice song. Yeah. And we have pretty much all been there.
Yes, most everybody has.
Just about it. Just about it.
I know a lot of women that's been in that situation
too.
Yeah. On the road, on the road, I've had ladies come up to me and says that song was how I know exactly what you're talking about because I was there, I've been there. You know,
it works both sides for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, and let's just. I hate to keep circling around, going back home to Lumber City, but you know that's a big part of who you are.
That's who I
am.
And
you mentioned this now, and tell us about this. Your mom and dad now have the barbecue restaurant.
They've been there
for years,
37 years.
37 years.
I think it's going on 38.
And by the way, since you told me that, the name of it is
Stinson's Barbecue.
And since you told me that, I've seen it. You know, online messing around and come across because I was looking up info on you and all that.
Yeah.
And man, I have not had it, but it must be good because it's got a very good reputation.
You know, back in the day, a lot of people used to come to my dad and say, "You need to get in these competitions and all that and this and the other." And tell them, and they say, "Man, that barbecue's so good, Mr. John." He says, "Well, we've been at it 30-something years. We ain't got it right by now. I reckon we ain't never gonna do it."
Yeah.
I mean, after you've been doing it for that long, you know what I mean? And, but
sure.
The sauce recipe has been down in my family for hundreds of years. You know, that family recipe's been handed down that that they use there. You know, and it's a Carolina mustard base is what it is. But it's good stuff, and I ain't just saying that because my family. It's good stuff.
No, it must be because
I'm proud of them, and they've all worked hard. My family's done real well there.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, no, I have seen some really glowing accolades online about that place, so it must be some kind of good.
People and I think it's a lot to do with the food. Don't get me wrong, because the food is good, but it's one of those places where you feel like you're at home when they walk in. They'll 99% of the time, my family's going to know who you are, or they're going to sit there and talk to you or whatever, and blah blah blah. I mean, they make you feel like you're at home eating. And I think that's what people like about it. On top of the food being good.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's good. I kind of figured. Yeah. Just talking with you and hearing about your upbringing and all that, I kind of figured.
We're just good old people, man. That's all.
That it would be. Yeah.
We're just good old hardworking people.
Y'all excuse me. I've got something in my throat today that just won't get out, but hopefully it's not too bad. Do you play more in Georgia than sort of anywhere?
Well, I wouldn't really say that because we're basically, like what we got going on here. We got a few things in Georgia, and then we're up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Nashville, and then later on we got the CMA fest that we always play. That's always a lot of fun, and we'll do that. And we do a lot of North Carolina and South Carolina. We probably play 3 or 4 times in those states a year.
So probably mostly
Alabama, and then
mostly the deep South. But you do
deep
go
South,
all
and then
over the
then
place.
we go up. We'll do Virginia, and then we'll go Pennsylvania and New York and the Massachusetts area and New Hampshire, and then you got Illinois and Ohio. So it's kind of a weird little thing. Actually, then we're going back to San Diego, California, and play again this year, like we did last year.
That's a long way from home.
Yeah, thank God we get on an airplane for that one.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I'm gonna tell you,
it's a long drive.
It's a long. That'd be a long haul. Because I'm telling you, we the first year I actually got to fly. I had to fly from California to Boston the first year I played, or to Massachusetts. But then I had to ride back with the boys, and I'm gonna tell you, that's about 26 hours one way. That's a long haul, man.
Ooh. Man, oh
but I'm gonna tell you,
man.
you get to see beautiful country. I hate to say, flying it's easier, it's quicker, or whatever. But being out there and just getting to see this beautiful country that we got, that a lot of people don't, and that's what, my brother, one of my brothers had told some people, how's your brother doing? He said, he's doing work great, man. He's been places I never thought he'd go, and I did too. And my music's taking me to places that I thought I'd never go.
Well, that's good, and I'll tell you what.
Without it, I probably wouldn't.
Well, you know what? Don't anybody listening out there, hit the road, man. If you haven't already, if you're young and you haven't hit the road, hit the road. Just get a vacation. Going, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big proponent of international travel too, and have been lucky enough to do some of that. But I'm telling you, one of the most memorable things I ever did was, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that, when I just went out for 2 solid months, basically lived out of my car. I got an old Volvo wagon, which was just barely long enough for my 6-foot frame to lay down in. Most of the time I camped out, but if it was really cold, because I went early spring, and some of the places I was going in the mountains and all that, it was too cold
Still
to be.
cold weather.
Too cold. But, man, just do it. Just find some way to do it, because it just is a shame how many people, I think, my impression anyway, have not really just kind of driven around this country and visited this country a lot. Yeah.
And it's surprising too, man. But I'm gonna tell you, there's so much out there.
God, yes,
so much out there.
And the Western landscape in general is just so dramatically different than it is here in the South, for instance, or really anywhere else in the Northeast or wherever you happen to be. I mean,
it's a beautiful country.
It's absolutely.
And you got one life. You might as well.
That's true.
One go round. So you might as well enjoy it.
You better get.
That's what I try to do.
I'm telling you, the days
sometimes
go
I might
faster.
enjoy it a little too much.
Well, there's that. But that's better. That's probably better as long as you're not too crazy. That's better.
Oh yeah, we don't get.
We kind
of stay on that rocker. We don't let the rock too far over.
Yeah. That's better than not rocking it. At least a little bit.
Yeah.
So. I don't know, man. What you want to talk about?
Anything. It doesn't make a difference. Let's talk about you. How you doing?
Let's not talk about
Let me interview you now.
Nobody wants to hear about me.
So where are you from, Mike?
Grew up in Atlanta, lived in Savannah, left for years, and now I'm back in Savannah to stay, buddy. I'm here for good now.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful, beautiful city. It really is.
Well, actually, there's one thing. This show this Friday.
See, I knew you had
I'm doing a little private. It's not private, but it's private to us because a friend of ours from the VFW, and he's a volunteer at the VFW. He's always there to volunteer to help him and his wife or whatever for people in Jessup. And him and his wife both are part-time EMS people, and he had come up on a wreck, and it was an older couple, and he got out. I mean, he wasn't on duty. Got out to help this guy get his wife out the car. Well, lo and behold, somebody come by and run over him and the other fella, and he's back home now, but he's still in, and it's going to take him a while to do something. So we putting together a little show for him this Friday night in Jessup. So
in Jessup.
Okay,
good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's
That's
one
a
of them
good
things.
Deal. That's a good deal.
But this is one of those things you just got to do, But and especially all the time, he'd help. He's one of those guys that will give you shirt off his back. I mean, he just to anybody, know. And but that, that's just how things you just never know. That's why I'm saying you got one go round.
That's right.
When your number's called, man, it's called.
You never know.
You better enjoy it while you can.
You had better. You're absolutely right about that. Well, let me ask you. When I can get whatever thing this is in my throat out, I guess obviously, right? When you do release the new album, you'll sort of maybe gear it up.
We'll gear it up for about 30 days ahead.
Okay.
There'll be a lot of social media stuff and on my website, and we'll do some radio stuff before that,
and do some more. Some more live gigs.
We're gonna have a lot more of those. Yeah. And it'd be a big push for it to come out.
Sure.
So we'll definitely let people will know before it comes out. And there's a lot of people chomping at the bits, including me, and it's my fault. Like I said, it's been about a 2-year endeavor, but I wanted to do this record that way because I wanted it to be exactly like I wanted it to be, And I hadn't had that opportunity with my previous records because I didn't have 100% control over the creative side of that.
Right.
On this record, I do, and it's taken me a year longer than it probably should have.
Well,
but
I can understand that.
I think people really appreciate it. I know our fans will, people that follow us, but because they'll understand once you get that record, I really think people will see, all that little extra effort that we took into each one of the songs. Just like my girlfriend, she was like, "I can't believe y'all spend that much time in the studio and you didn't even get but one song done." I said, "I'll tell you what, we're gonna be there tomorrow. Come on and join us." And we were there, and she says that was her first and last time. Yeah.
Now, again, see, I correlate that with my writing, and I do some article, and I tell people how long it took me, and they say, "Why did it take that long?"
Well, you got to take.
You gotta, you gotta think carefully and choose your words or your lyrics or your licks carefully, and all that stuff.
Well,
you just
want to do the best job that you can. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes you put a little more effort in things if it's something you love anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else?
Oh, there's more. I know.
We can talk about anything.
Well, no. There's a couple things I don't even want to go near.
Oh, come on.
No. Couple things I don't want to go near, but what? Not many things, but a couple things at least. All right. So, who you listen to a lot today?
Oh, well, a little bit of everything, and
no, we can't have that. We got to do better than that.
I mean, one of my favorites. I mean, and there's several. I mean, a lot of people are like, and I think it's just. I know a lot of people are getting away from. Everybody goes online and they do their downloads and stuff, which is cool because most people, they're making cars now that don't even have CD players.
Right.
And but I still like to go buy records.
Me too, man.
And
Me too.
The last few records I bought was Craig Campbell, which me and Craig grew up 20 miles from each other, and we played the same clubs, and sometimes we'd use the same musicians, and we just become friends. And I always I want to buy that record, so I went to the store and bought it. I want to see the artwork and see who played on it and all that stuff. And him and Tyler Farr are two of my favorites, I guess, because I'm a little partial because we're on friends and we played on the road together.
Tyler Farr, I think he was going to play here.
Redneck Crazy, and he's had a few hits, and a great songwriter too. That's a lot of people don't know about him. He's wrote a lot of songs too for other people.
Yeah. So. I'm with you though. I'm old school with that. I want an actual good. It's just like I want an actual book too. By the way, I want a book. I don't want a download. I want to hold it in your hand. I don't want a reader. I want paper, ink and paper.
Yeah.
And then with a CD, I want to get a CD. I want to get an album. I want to get it, and I want to look at the lyrics. I want to look at like you say, the people playing and the artwork and the whole thing. It's the whole production, man.
Well, it's the whole package to me. Yeah. I mean, because they spend a lot of time. I know making that record. I know how important it is to them, and how important it is for everybody to, really get their piece of on it. I mean, when everybody gets their little stamp on there.
And there are people, visual artists who they made their name by doing album covers.
Yeah.
I mean, so that can be really big time, lucrative stuff.
It is,
and it's just like any artistic expression. It's
but
it's very meaningful.
I
to
still
them,
enjoy. That's
sure.
just part of what I like when I buy a new record. I get excited, when I go buy one. Especially when they're friends of mine, and I love supporting them, and because we always support each other, everybody back in the day,
Well, God knows there's a lot of Georgia.
There's a lot of us out
musicians of all kinds, but certainly a lot of country musicians who've blossomed in Georgia.
They have. There's been a lot of them. And I mean, there's just something in the water. People ask me all the time, "Well, why is everybody coming from Georgia?" It's God's country. That's why.
I think it's. Is it this year or was it last year that was the sort of Georgia's tourism tag was music? I think it was. It
was last year, I believe.
It was last year. Yeah, because wait a minute, you were what?
I was Georgia male vocalist of the year.
Georgia male vocalist of the year
last year.
Last year was the music. year for
Right,
Georgia,
for
if
Georgia,
you will.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you got, man, that must have felt
It
really
was,
good.
that was real. It was an honor. I mean, they send you tickets and you go or whatever. And I was, whether I won or not, because there was a lot of talented people that were involved in that.
I bet.
And we just happened to be the one that got, because it was kind of a 50-50 thing. It was half of it was considered on votes, and the other half was how you react, what all the stuff you do, like community involved stuff, and how you interact with your fans on your social media and your websites and
that
stuff
makes
like
it even
that.
Better.
So when we won, I mean, yeah, it's probably one of the biggest honors I've ever received. I mean, but it's one of those things that is special to me,
Sure.
because it's not just mine. It's the whole group, all my guys in the band. It's their award too, and all the people on the road that go with us, and everybody that comes to shows. It's all ours, because if without all that, it wouldn't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is quite an honor, man.
It is.
That's got to be a nice thing.
It
to
is.
be able to kind of.
And everybody's like, "You gonna get it this year?" And I'm like, "If only God knows."
Man, now that's almost too much.
We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and if we're lucky enough to get it, we'll be honored to have it. But there's a lot of other talented people out there that's involved that that they look at too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, sure.
Boy, good luck to all of them.
Still, that's really something.
It is.
I mean, that is really something.
Yeah. It is.
And again, the fact that it does involve kind of your social.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, it's just it's not only about. That's what I'm saying. It's not really only about just the music. It's basically seeing how good of a person you are.
Yeah.
And it ain't all about you. I mean, and that's why I tell people. My name's on the award, but it's ours.
Yeah.
It's not mine. Just like when I finish my record, it's not just mine. It's ours. Everybody that worked on the record.
Yeah.
From Dave Mack to producer and engineers. I mean, everybody, all the songwriters, the musicians that played on it.
Man,
there's a lot of it's not all. Maybe everybody's like, well, man, you doing good? I said, yeah, we're doing good. What do you mean we? I said, there's a lot of people involved that makes this happen. It ain't just me. This turtle doesn't get on top of that fence post by itself. These people put me up there.
That's right. That's right.
If
you come across,
I just try to stay humble. Everybody's like, you're just so laid back. I said, I just take it every day, one day at a time. I mean, do the best I can, and try to be a good person. And that's what's important to me more, too.
Yeah,
you try to be a good person, be the best you can.
That's good.
Because I like to treat people the way I want to be treated. And that's just how we were raised too, though.
Oh boy, I'll tell you. Yeah, seems like there's a lot of people more these days who might not think that way. But that's a good way to be. That's
I try to be. But I don't know. I don't want to mistreat anybody. I never intend to do it. But I mean, there's things that happen.
Well, sure. I mean, you can't get involved with.
No,
people.
I try to help people, but sometimes people just can't be helped.
Got that
I hate
right
to say
too.
that, but that's the truth.
No, it's the truth. It is absolutely the truth. You hate to say it, but it is true.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you what. I am going to let's just take another brief break. We'll be right back, and I'm just going to have a few announcements and that kind of thing, and then we'll close out with Lance Stinson. And so we'll be right back. This one's going to be quick, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And
folks. And by the way, I don't know whether you know it or not, but that song and that music that you're hearing on the breaks usually, and including that last one we just had, is actually the work of Keith Baudry, our trusty producer and tech guy, by the way, who also now has his own show on Friday. When?
5 to 6.
Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. A very different kind of show. It's kind of a sci-fi oriented story, kind of story. Old radio plays he throws in there and everything. It's really a good listen. You ought to check that out as well. Okay, a few things before we close out here. I want to let you know that next week we have got Tony Pizzo and Kane Lanahan. Tony of Ships of the Sea Museum, and Kane is the founder and I guess CEO of the Stopover Music Festival. They're both going to be here talking about the Stopover Music Festival. So that the festival itself is going to be the 9th through the 11th. And so we're going to have another good music-oriented show next week. Some incredible music coming here, many of them on the way to Austin. They kind of do a dog leg down here and head over to Texas for that. But and there's also some local folks playing. It's going to be some really good stuff. We'll talk with them next week. The week after that, on the 8th, I've got Ryan McMakin with the Savannah Music Fest. So, man, springtime is music time in Savannah, Georgia, for sure. All sorts of stuff. We got, the Stopover. We got the Savannah Music Fest coming up. And then, of course, we've got the St. Patty's Day, which has a big musical element. And Lance Stinson sitting right here beside us, you've been listening to, is going to be a big part of that on River Street for St. Patty's Day. All right, so last chance. Anything in particular that you want to say? We've covered a lot of ground. But
thank you for having us on, man. I really appreciate it. And
my pleasure.
We look forward to seeing everybody on St. Patty's Day.
Sounds good.
And y'all be safe.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking it up. It's going to be really, really good stuff. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, please take care. And this is WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. See ya, or at least you be listening next week, same time.